The Awakening. In the year 2150, Earth was a different place. Cities were larger and filled with bright lights, but there was a dark cloud hanging over humanity. Climate change, wars, and diseases had weakened the planet. People felt hopeless and scared. It seemed as if the world was coming to an end. But then something extraordinary happened. A mysterious signal from deep space reached Earth, offering a chance to change everything. The signal was detected by scientists in a high-tech laboratory. They analyzed it for weeks, trying to understand its meaning. The signal seemed to be a message from another civilization. It was filled with strange patterns and frequencies. Many believed it was an invitation or a warning. The scientists soon realized that it contained information about a radical transformation that could evolve humans into a stronger species, one that resembled insects. News of the signal spread like wildfire. At first, people were excited. Some thought it was a miracle that could save humanity, while others were filled with fear. Many believed that transforming into insects would strip them of their humanity. How could anyone accept such a drastic change? The world was divided. As discussions continued, a meeting was called at the United Nations headquarters. Delegates from all over the world gathered to talk about the signal and its potential. The room was filled with tension. Some argued passionately for the transformation, claiming it could save humanity from extinction. Others shouted in anger, warning against the dangers of playing with nature. Dr. Elena Reyes, a leading scientist, stood at the front of the room, ready to speak. Her heart raced. She had dedicated her life to studying evolution and was deeply interested in the signal. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "this is a unique opportunity. If we embrace this transformation, we can become stronger, smarter, and more resilient. We can adapt to our environment in ways we never thought possible." Some delegates nodded, while others frowned. A delegate from a small island nation stood up and shouted, "But what if we lose our humanity? We are not insects. We are human beings." The room fell silent as the weight of his words sank in. Dr. Reyes took a deep breath. "I understand your concerns," she said, "but think about what we've lost. The world is suffering, and we are on the brink of destruction. This transformation could be our salvation. We would not be abandoning our humanity. We would be evolving, adapting to survive in a harsh world." Her words sparked a heated debate. Some people were excited about the idea, while others were horrified. As the night went on, more voices joined the conversation. Some were filled with hope, while others were full of fear. Finally, after hours of debate, a vote was called. The delegates cast their ballots, and the results shocked everyone. The majority had voted in favor of the transformation. Many cheered, but others looked terrified. It was a historic decision, one that would change the course of humanity forever. Days later, the first group of volunteers was announced. They would undergo the transformation process in a state-of-the-art facility. The media buzzed with excitement, broadcasting the event live. People across the globe tuned in to watch as history unfolded before their eyes. In the lab, volunteers prepared for the procedure. They were a mix of young and old, men and women, each with their reasons for joining. Some hoped to be part of something greater, while others sought personal redemption. They stood together, united by a common purpose, but also filled with doubt. As the scientists prepped the volunteers, Dr. Reyes addressed them. "You are about to embark on a journey that no one has ever taken before. This transformation will test your courage and resolve. You will gain incredible abilities, but you will also face challenges. Remember, you are not alone. We are all in this together." With her words, the volunteers felt a surge of determination. They were scared, but they were also excited. This was their chance to change the world. They stepped into the transformation chamber, surrounded by high-tech equipment and glowing lights. As the door sealed behind them, they took a deep breath. The process began. Waves of energy enveloped them, and they felt a strange sensation. It was as if their bodies were being stretched and reshaped. The experience was both painful and exhilarating. They could feel their minds expanding and their senses sharpening. Hours later, the process came to an end. The chamber opened, and the volunteers stepped out. They looked at each other, bewildered by what they saw. They had changed. Their bodies were now more agile, and their senses were heightened. They felt stronger, faster, and more aware of their surroundings. But as they looked in the mirror, fear crept in. They had transformed, but were they still human? Would they be accepted by society? Questions flooded their minds, but deep down, a spark of hope remained. They were pioneers of a new era, and the world would soon know what they could do. As news of the transformation spread, humanity was on the edge of a new beginning. Little did they know that their evolution would not only change them, but also shape the future of the entire galaxy. First steps into a new world. After their transformation, the volunteers emerged into a world that felt both familiar and foreign. The sunlight streamed through the large windows of the lab, illuminating their new forms. They had become stronger and more agile, but their reflections stirred a mix of excitement and uncertainty within them. They were no longer just human. They were something different, something extraordinary. Dr. Elena Reyes was there to greet them. Her face radiated with enthusiasm as she clapped her hands together. Welcome, everyone. You have taken the first step towards a new future for humanity. We will need your help to understand what you can do now. The group looked at one another, a mixture of nervousness and eagerness evident on their faces. One of the volunteers, a young woman named Mia, stepped forward. What exactly can we do? How are we different now? Her voice trembled slightly, but her curiosity shone through. Dr. Reyes smiled warmly. You have developed enhanced physical abilities. You can run faster, jump higher, and your reflexes are much quicker. You also have heightened senses. Your sight, hearing, and even smell are sharper than ever before. She paused, gauging their reactions. But most importantly, you will learn to work together as a team. You are stronger together, just as insects work in colonies. The volunteers exchanged glances, feeling a surge of hope. This was their moment to show the world what they were capable of. Dr. Rice led them to a training area, where various exercises awaited them. Let's see what you can do, she encouraged. As they began, the group found themselves overwhelmed by their new abilities. They sprinted down the track, their legs moving faster than they ever thought possible. They jumped, soaring high into the air before landing gracefully. Laughter filled the air as they realized how exhilarating it was to have these powers. But as the day progressed, reality set in. The training was not just about physical skills. It was also about learning to control their new forms. One volunteer, an older man named Henry, struggled to adapt. He stumbled during a jump and fell hard to the ground. Concerned, Mia rushed to his side. "Are you okay?" she asked, helping him up. "I'm fine," Henry replied, brushing himself off. "But this is harder than it looks. I don't want to be a burden to anyone." His eyes reflected the doubts that many in the group were beginning to feel. Mia shook her head. "You're not a burden. We're all in this together. We have to support each other." Her encouragement helped lift Henry's spirits, and he nodded, feeling a bit better. As the days turned into weeks, the volunteers trained tirelessly. They discovered new skills every day. They learned to communicate in ways that felt instinctual, almost like a hive mind. They developed strategies and tactics for teamwork, becoming closer as a group. One day, during a particularly intense training session, Dr. Rice announced, "It's time for you to put your skills to the test in a simulated mission. You'll face challenges that will require you to work together." Excitement rippled through the group. This was what they had trained for. They gathered in a large, high-tech simulation room. The walls were covered in screens displaying various environments. "Today, you will navigate through an obstacle course that mimics real-world conditions," Dr. Rice explained. "You will face challenges that test your agility, teamwork, and problem-solving skills. As the simulation began, the volunteers faced a series of obstacles. They climbed walls, crawled through tight spaces, and dodged moving barriers. The atmosphere was electric with adrenaline. With every challenge, they grew more confident and connected as a team. However, during one exercise, disaster struck. An unexpected glitch in the simulation caused a wall to collapse. In a split second, Mia noticed Henry was trapped under debris. Panic surged through her, but she quickly focused. "Everyone, help me," she shouted, rushing toward him. The group sprang into action, using their combined strength to lift the debris off Henry. The teamwork they had practiced came into play, and within moments, Henry was free. He looked up at them, his eyes wide with gratitude. "Thank you. I couldn't have done this without you," he said, catching his breath. As the simulation ended, the volunteers felt a deep sense of accomplishment. They had faced their fears and learned to rely on each other. They were no longer just individuals. They were a team, united by their shared experience. After the training, Dr. Rice gathered everyone together. "You have shown incredible progress," she praised. "But we are facing a bigger challenge. The world outside is watching, and they are unsure about the transformation. We need to prove to humanity that this change is beneficial." The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. The volunteers knew that their journey was just beginning. They had to face the world and convince it that this transformation was a positive step for humanity. The challenge ahead was daunting, but they felt ready. As they looked at one another, determination shone in their eyes. They had awakened into a new reality, one filled with possibilities and challenges. And together, they would navigate the uncertain future that lay ahead. With a shared sense of purpose, they stepped into the next phase of their journey, ready to face whatever came their way. They were not just transformed humans. They were pioneers of a new era, and they were prepared to show the universe what humanity could achieve. The world watches. The day of the public demonstration arrived, and excitement buzzed in the air. The volunteers gathered at the large training facility, each one feeling a mix of nerves and anticipation. Dr. Elena Reyes stood at the front, addressing the group. "Today, you will showcase your abilities to the world. It's your chance to show everyone how powerful and capable you are. Remember, you're not just representing yourselves, but humanity as a whole." The group nodded, determination etched on their faces. They had trained hard for this moment, and now they had to prove that their transformation was not something to fear, but a gift that could change the course of humanity. As they prepared, cameras were set up outside the facility. News crews from around the galaxy had arrived to cover the event. The volunteers could hear the chatter of reporters and the clicking of cameras as the audience gathered. This was their chance to change perceptions, to show what they could do. Dr. Reyes led them outside. The sun was shining brightly, and a sea of faces awaited them. Many looked skeptical, their expressions mixed with curiosity and fear. The volunteers lined up in front of the crowd, each one trying to project confidence. "Welcome to the demonstration of the newly transformed humans," Dr. Rice announced, her voice steady and clear. "Today, you will witness the incredible abilities that these brave individuals have gained. They are here to show you that they can be a powerful ally in the fight against any threats our galaxy faces." The crowd murmured, unsure of what to expect. The first demonstration began with agility training. The volunteers dashed through an obstacle course, leaping over walls, crawling under barriers, and navigating through tight spaces with ease. They moved as a cohesive unit, their movements synchronized as if they were one entity. The audience gasped in amazement. Maya led the way, her newfound speed shining through as she effortlessly vaulted over obstacles. Henry, who had been nervous about his abilities, followed closely behind, his confidence growing with each successful leap. The crowd began to cheer, their skepticism fading. Next came the strength demonstration. The volunteers lifted heavy weights and pushed against sturdy barriers. They showed off their enhanced physical abilities, easily accomplishing feats that would have been impossible for ordinary humans. The crowd erupted into applause, some even shouting words of encouragement. Then came the teamwork exercise, a task designed to showcase their ability to work together. The volunteers formed a circle, each one taking turns to pass a large weighted ball among them while blindfolded. They communicated through clicks and gestures, mimicking the way insects communicated in a hive. The challenge was difficult, but they completed it flawlessly, their coordination impressive. As the demonstration continued, the audience grew more enthusiastic. Dr. Rice took the opportunity to speak about the importance of their transformation. These individuals have become more than just humans. They are pioneers. They symbolize what humanity can achieve when we embrace change and work together. The crowd roared in approval, their fear replaced by admiration. People began to see the volunteers not as monsters, but as heroes. However, just as the excitement reached its peak, a shadow fell over the event. An ominous ship appeared in the sky, blocking out the sun. The crowd gasped as the vessel descended, its dark hull glinting in the light. Dr. Rice's expression changed to one of concern. "Everyone, stay calm," she instructed. "This is unexpected, but we must remain focused." The ship landed with a heavy thud, and a hatch opened. A group of armored aliens emerged, their weapons drawn and their expressions menacing. They had come to disrupt the demonstration and sow fear among the people. "Humanity is weak," one of the aliens shouted, his voice booming over the crowd. "You think you can become strong. You are nothing but a mistake of evolution." The audience recoiled, fear creeping back into their hearts. But the volunteers, fueled by their training and newfound abilities, stood firm. Maya stepped forward, her heart racing, but her resolve unshakable. "We are not afraid," she shouted, her voice ringing out. "We will protect our people." Dr. Rice took a deep breath, stepping beside the volunteers. "You do not know what we have become," she declared boldly. "We will not back down in the face of your threats. We stand united, ready to defend our home." The aliens exchanged glances, surprised by the humans' defiance. They had expected fear, but they found strength instead. This was not what they had anticipated. The volunteers, sensing the tension in the air, quickly prepared to demonstrate their abilities in a new way. They transformed their fear into action, moving into position to defend their ground. In that moment, everything shifted. The audience watched in awe as the volunteers faced the armed aliens with unwavering courage. The transformation they had undergone was not just physical, it was a mental change as well. They had become warriors, ready to fight for their world. The air crackled with tension, and the crowd felt the weight of the moment. They were witnessing the birth of something extraordinary, a new kind of humanity that would not cower in fear, but instead rise to the challenge. The alien leader hesitated, realizing that this was not the easy victory they had envisioned. "You will regret this, humans," he shouted, but the volunteers stood their ground, ready to defend their newfound strength. In the face of adversity, humanity had begun to stand tall. This was just the beginning of their journey, and they were ready to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. The world would no longer see them as weak. They would see them as powerful allies, ready to fight for their place in the universe. And so, as the tension mounted, the first battle for humanity's future loomed on the horizon, and the volunteers were prepared to face it head-on. The world was watching, and they would not let humanity down. The confrontation, the tension in the air was palpable. The crowd held its breath as the alien leader glared at the group of transformed humans. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation, and all eyes were on the confrontation. Would humanity stand firm against the show of intimidation? Mia, standing at the forefront, felt a rush of adrenaline. She looked back at her fellow volunteers, each of them silently affirming their commitment to protect their people. She knew they had to act quickly. "Let's show them what we can do," she shouted, her voice steady and powerful. The alien leader laughed, a harsh sound that echoed across the field. "You think you can challenge us? "You are nothing but insects." He gestured to his soldiers, who raised their weapons, ready to attack. But before they could fire, Mia and the other volunteers sprang into action. They had trained for this moment, and now they would put everything they had learned to the test. With a swift motion, Mia darted to the side, her speed surprising even her. The ground beneath her feet felt alive as she pushed her new abilities to their limits. The other volunteers followed suit, moving with incredible agility. Together, they executed a well-rehearsed strategy, using teamwork to outmaneuver the aliens. They had studied the alien fighting styles, understanding their weaknesses and how to exploit them. Henry, who had once been hesitant about his skills, felt the fire of determination ignite within him. He charged at an alien soldier, dodging the blast from its weapon with a speed he had never known before. The crowd watched in awe as Henry leaped, landing squarely on the alien soldier, knocking it to the ground. "Stay focused," Mia called, her voice cutting through the chaos. "We need to work together." The volunteers formed a line, protecting each other as they faced the alien troops. They moved as a unit, communicating with quick glances and gestures. When one of them stumbled or was cornered, another was there to back them up. The alien soldiers were taken aback. They had expected to intimidate humanity, to instill fear and chaos. But instead, they found themselves fighting against a unified force. The humans were nimble and unpredictable, using their newfound agility to dart around their opponents, creating openings to strike. As the battle intensified, Dr. Rice stood nearby, monitoring the situation closely. She felt a mixture of pride and concern. Her team was performing remarkably well, but she knew the aliens were well-armed and dangerous. "Remember to be strategic," she shouted, urging them to stay focused. "Use your surroundings." The volunteers quickly adapted, using their environment to their advantage. They climbed over barriers, hid behind structures, and used anything they could find as cover. The alien soldiers struggled to keep up with their fast-paced movements. One alien attempted to flank Mia, but she sensed the movement out of the corner of her eye. With lightning-fast reflexes, she turned and executed a perfect kick, sending the soldier sprawling backward. "Nice move, Mia," Henry cheered, exhilaration flooding through him. With each passing moment, the tide of the battle shifted. The crowd, once fearful, now erupted in cheers. They were witnessing humanity's newfound strength, and the volunteers were determined not to let them down. The alien leader, realizing that his soldiers were faltering, tried to regain control. "Retreat," he shouted, but it was too late. The volunteers were relentless, their confidence surging as they pushed forward. "Don't let them escape," Mia yelled. "We need to show them we won't back down." With renewed vigor, the volunteers surged forward, pushing the aliens back toward their ship. The alien leader, seeing his forces crumbling, finally began to panic. His arrogance had led him to underestimate humanity's resolve. Just as they were about to take down the remaining soldiers, a loud alarm blared from the alien ship. A voice echoed through the loudspeakers, warning of imminent danger. "Self-destruct sequence initiated. All personnel must evacuate immediately." The alien soldiers looked to their leader, confusion and fear evident on their faces. "What are we doing?" "We can't leave," one soldier shouted. The leader's expression hardened. "We must retreat. We will fight another day." As the alien soldiers scrambled to escape, the volunteers stood firm, ready to finish the fight. But as the ship's countdown timer ticked away, they realized they had to act quickly. Dr. Rice shouted, "We can't let them escape. They will come back stronger. We need to stop that ship." The volunteers glanced at one another, then quickly formulated a plan. They had to disable the ship before it could take off. Mia and Henry led the charge toward the vessel, racing against time. They reached the ship's entrance just as the first of the aliens boarded. Without hesitation, they launched themselves inside, taking the alien crew by surprise. "Stop them," the alien leader shouted, but it was too late. Mia and Henry were already inside, ready to disable the ship's systems. The other volunteers followed closely behind, and together they fought against the remaining alien crew members. The battle was fierce, but the humans fought with every ounce of their strength and determination. As they battled their way to the control room, Maya reached for the ship's controls. "We have to disable the self-destruct," she yelled. Henry nodded, his face set in concentration as he worked on the controls. "I'll try to override it." With seconds to spare, they fought their way to the main console. The alarm continued to blare, and time was running out. The ship's countdown timer was nearing 0, and every moment felt like an eternity. Come on," Mia urged, her heart racing. With a final push, Henry managed to input the command. The alarms suddenly quieted, and a message flashed across the screen. Self-destruct sequence canceled. Relief washed over them, but there was no time to celebrate. They still had to get out of the ship before it was too late. "Let's go," Mia shouted, leading the way back out. They rushed through the corridors, fighting off any remaining aliens who dared to stand in their way. As they burst back outside, they could see the alien leader retreating, realizing they had lost this battle. The remaining alien soldiers scrambled into the ship as it prepared for takeoff. But as the ship lifted off, the volunteers stood tall, united in their victory. They had faced a powerful enemy and emerged stronger. The crowd erupted in cheers, their fear replaced with admiration and respect. Humanity had proven its strength, and the galaxy would never forget this day. They had transformed from fearful beings into warriors, ready to defend their world against any threat. As the ship disappeared into the sky, the volunteers looked at one another, their hearts filled with pride. They had shown the galaxy what they could do, and this was just the beginning. Together, they would continue to rise and fight for their place in the universe. The aftermath. As the dust settled, the cheers of the crowd filled the air. Humanity had just triumphed against a seemingly invincible enemy. The volunteers, still buzzing with adrenaline, gathered to catch their breath and process what had just happened. Mia looked around at her fellow warriors, each one glowing with a sense of accomplishment. They had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious. "We did it," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "We really did it." Henry smiled, his face flushed with excitement. "I can't believe we actually held our ground against them. They thought they could scare us into submission." Dr. Reyes joined them, her eyes shining with pride. "You all showed incredible bravery and teamwork. We faced something unimaginable today, and you rose to the challenge. But this victory is only the beginning. We must prepare for what comes next." The crowd began to disperse, but the volunteers remained together, sharing their thoughts on the battle. They knew the alien forces would not give up so easily. The Galactic Empire had tasted defeat, and they would likely return, angrier and more determined. "We should start training even harder," suggested Mia. "We can't let them catch us off guard again. They'll be planning their next move as we speak." "Agreed," Henry replied. "We need to learn everything we can about their tactics and technology. If we can understand how they fight, we can turn their own strategies against them." Dr. Reyes nodded. "I'll gather the data we collected during the battle. We need to analyze it and figure out what we can do better. But we must also prepare our community for the possibility of a larger conflict. This was a warning, and we can't let our guard down." As the group discussed their plans, a sense of determination settled over them. The fear that had once gripped humanity was slowly being replaced by a fierce resolve. They were no longer the hunted. They had become the hunters. Days passed, and the volunteers dedicated themselves to training. They pushed each other to their limits, working on their speed, agility, and combat skills. Dr. Reyes held regular briefings, sharing insights from the alien data and helping the team develop new strategies. Mia found herself at the forefront of these training sessions, leading her fellow volunteers with passion. She was no longer just a participant. She had become a leader, inspiring others to believe in themselves and their newfound abilities. Let's keep the momentum going. Mia called during one session. We're not just training to defend ourselves. We're training to protect our home and everyone we care about. We can't let them take that away from us. Her words ignited a fire in the group, and they trained harder than ever before. The community began to rally around the volunteers, offering support and encouragement. More people expressed interest in joining their cause, eager to protect their world and contribute to the fight against the Galactic Empire. One evening, while they were practicing combat techniques, a commotion broke out at the edge of the training ground. A group of townspeople had gathered, murmuring among themselves. Mia paused and walked over, curious about what was happening. As she reached the crowd, she saw a familiar face, a news reporter. "We've received word from the Galactic Council," the reporter announced, her voice trembling with urgency. "They have issued a statement regarding the recent battle." The crowd fell silent, eager to hear the news. The reporter continued, "The Council claims that humanity is a significant threat to their existence. They are sending a delegation to discuss terms, but there's no guarantee that they will come in peace." Mia felt a knot tighten in her stomach. This was what they had feared. The Galactic Empire was not finished with them. "What do we do now?" she asked, turning to Dr. Reyes. "We need to prepare for negotiations," Dr. Reyes replied, her voice steady. "But we must also be ready for anything. If they come with hostile intentions, we will need to defend ourselves again." The tension in the air grew thick as the volunteers exchanged worried glances. They had just fought one battle and now faced the uncertainty of another. That night, Mia couldn't sleep. She lay awake, thoughts racing through her mind. What if the negotiations went wrong? What if the Empire was lying about their intentions? She felt the weight of responsibility resting heavily on her shoulders. She finally decided to take a walk to clear her head. As she strolled through the quiet streets, she reflected on the changes humanity had undergone in such a short time. They had gone from being terrified of the unknown to standing tall against a powerful enemy. But would they be able to hold their ground if faced with the Galactic Empire again? Lost in her thoughts, she wandered to the edge of the town, where the vast sky stretched before her. The stars twinkled like diamonds, and for a moment, she felt a sense of calm. They had come so far, and they would continue to fight for their future. Suddenly, a loud sound broke the silence. Maya turned to see a fleet of alien ships descending from the sky. Panic surged through her as she raced back to the training ground, heart pounding in her chest. The volunteers quickly gathered, and Mia relayed what she had seen. "They're here. We need to prepare," she shouted, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Dr. Reyes stepped forward, her expression serious. "Stay calm. We will form a defensive perimeter. Remember your training. We'll show them that humanity stands united." As the fleet loomed above them, the sense of urgency intensified. They had fought hard to defend their home, and now they had to prepare for whatever the Galactic Empire had planned. The time for negotiation was over. It was time for humanity to rise once more, united in their determination to protect their world. The Galactic delegation. The atmosphere was thick with tension as the humans gathered at the training ground. Everyone felt the urgency in the air. The sleek alien ships hovered ominously in the night sky, casting shadows over the landscape. Mia stood at the forefront, her heart racing, but her resolve stronger than ever. She could see the determination in the eyes of her fellow warriors. They were ready to defend their home at all costs. Dr. Reyes stepped forward, addressing the crowd. "We have prepared for this moment. We don't know what the Galactic Empire intends, but we will not let fear dictate our actions. We have trained hard, and we are ready to stand our ground." As she spoke, a communication device crackled to life. The flickering screen showed a holographic image of an alien leader, its form both imposing and mesmerizing. Its skin shimmered like liquid silver, and its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. "Humans," the alien leader's voice boomed, echoing in the stillness. "We come not to wage war, but to seek a peaceful resolution. The Galactic Council wishes to discuss your future and the consequences of your defiance. Mia felt a mix of relief and skepticism. They wanted peace, but she knew the Empire's reputation. What kind of resolution? She shouted back, her voice steady despite the weight of the situation. The alien leader's eyes narrowed. A ceasefire, a chance to discuss terms. You have demonstrated remarkable courage, but your actions have consequences. We demand to know how you acquired the ability to combat our forces. Dr. Reyes stepped forward, her expression calm but firm. We will consider your offer for a ceasefire. But know this, if you come to negotiate, you must treat us with respect. We are not your subjects. We are a free people. The alien leader paused, its expression unreadable. Very well, we will send a delegation to meet with your representatives. Choose your best negotiators and be prepared to share your knowledge of combat. We wish to avoid further conflict, but you must understand that we will not tolerate any threats to our empire. The holographic image flickered and disappeared, leaving the humans in an uneasy silence. The reality of their situation weighed heavily on them. Maya turned to Dr. Rice and the other volunteers. What should we do now? Can we trust them? Dr. Rice sighed, her brow furrowed in thought. We must prepare for both scenarios, peace and war. While we negotiate, we must continue training and be ready for anything. Mia nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. I'll gather a team of negotiators. We need the best minds to represent humanity. As the sun began to rise, casting a warm glow over the training ground, Mia assembled a team. She chose individuals who had shown exceptional intelligence, empathy, and strength during the training sessions. Henry, Dr. Rice, and a few others stepped forward, ready to support her in the negotiations. They spent the day discussing strategies and preparing for the impending meeting. Mia emphasized the importance of standing firm in their beliefs while remaining open to dialogue. We cannot show weakness, she urged, but we also must not be closed-minded. We are fighting for our future, and we need to be smart about it. The time for the negotiations arrived, and the humans gathered in a large hall, decorated with symbols of unity and strength. Attention hung in the air as the alien delegation entered the room. The alien leader from before was present, flanked by other high-ranking officials. The humans stood tall, their expressions a mix of determination and caution. Maya took a deep breath and stepped forward. Welcome to our home. We are here to discuss the future of our people. The alien leader nodded, its silver skin glimmering in the light. We appreciate your willingness to meet. We wish to understand how you develop your combat skills and what you expect from us in return. Mia looked around at her team, then back at the alien delegation. First, we demand respect as equals. We are not a lesser species. You have underestimated us, and now we stand ready to defend our home. We are willing to share our knowledge, but it must be reciprocated. The alien leader raised an eyebrow. Reciprocity is fair, but understand this, we will not bow to your demands. Mia felt a surge of defiance. We don't want you to bow. We want a partnership. We are willing to work together, but only if you acknowledge our strength and our right to exist freely. The room filled with a heavy silence. The alien officials exchanged glances, weighing her words carefully. The alien leader leaned forward, its expression unreadable. Very well. Let us find common ground, but know that any hint of treachery will be met with swift retribution. The negotiations continued, and as they spoke, Mia felt the tension between the two sides begin to shift. They discussed trade, technology, and the potential for collaboration. It was a delicate dance of words, with both parties trying to gauge the other's intentions. After hours of discussion, they'd reached an agreement. The Galactic Empire would share some of their advanced technology in exchange for insights into humanity's combat strategies. It was a step toward peace, but the undercurrent of tension remained. As the meeting concluded, Mia felt a mixture of relief and uncertainty. They had managed to secure a ceasefire, But the reality of their situation still weighed heavily on her mind. The Galactic Empire was not to be trusted completely, and she knew they had to remain vigilant. When the humans returned to their training ground, a sense of camaraderie filled the air. They had achieved something remarkable, but Mia couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a much larger battle. That night, as Mia lay in bed, she reflected on the day's events. They had faced the unknown and come out standing tall, but she knew the fight was far from over. Humanity had proven their strength, but the challenge of navigating a fragile peace lay ahead. The true test would come when the Empire's next move was revealed. The resilience of humanity. The sun rose over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Mia awoke with a sense of urgency. The negotiation with the Galactic Empire had opened a fragile door, but she knew they were not entirely out of danger. The deal they struck was a beginning, not an end. As Mia prepared for the day, she couldn't shake the feeling that their actions had consequences, and the Empire was not known for its patience. Gathering her thoughts, she headed to the training ground to meet her team. They were eager, ready to share the news about their partnership with the Empire, but a sense of unease hung in the air. When she arrived, the atmosphere was charged. The warriors were engaged in their morning drills, the clatter of weapons mixing with the shouts of instructors. Mia climbed onto a makeshift platform to address the crowd. As they quieted down, she felt their collective anticipation. "Everyone, we have news," she began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "We reached an agreement with the Galactic Empire. They will share some of their technology with us in exchange for our combat strategies." A murmur swept through the crowd. Some faces lit up with excitement, while others showed skepticism. Mia continued, "This is a step forward, but we must remain vigilant. We cannot trust them completely. This agreement does not guarantee our safety." Dr. Reyes stepped up beside her, adding, "We need to continue training as if the agreement never happened. Our strength is our greatest asset, and we must be ready for anything. Our future depends on our resilience and our ability to adapt." The crowd erupted in cheers, their spirits lifted by Mia and Dr. Reyes' words. They knew the challenges ahead would be daunting, but the determination in their hearts was unwavering. As they resumed their training, Mia felt a sense of hope. One fateful day, while training, an alarm blared through the compound. The lights flickered as an urgent voice echoed over the intercom. "Attention! An alien fleet is approaching. All personnel to battle stations." The warriors sprang into action, adrenaline coursing through their veins. Maya felt her heart race as she organized her team. "This is it. Remember your training. Stay focused and work together." They rushed to their stations, ready to defend their home. The sky darkened as the fleet drew closer, and Mia could see the alien ships hovering ominously above. Panic flickered in some eyes, but Mia maintained her composure. "Look at them," she shouted over the chaos. "They think they can intimidate us. We are humanity. We stand together, and we will fight for our home." As the alien ships descended, weapons systems powered up, and the humans prepared to defend themselves. They had trained for this moment, and now it was time to put their skills to the test. Suddenly, the first shots rang out. Bright beams of energy lit up the sky as the two forces clashed. Maya led her team into battle, dodging enemy fire and coordinating their attacks. The training they had undergone paid off as they executed their strategies with precision. Amidst the chaos, Mia spotted an alien ship attempting to flank them. "We need to cut them off," she shouted, leading a group of warriors to intercept. They moved swiftly, using the terrain to their advantage. Together, they fired their weapons, sending sparks flying as they struck the ship. But the battle was fierce. The aliens were relentless, and Mia could see her fellow warriors fighting bravely, holding the line. Yet as the fighting raged on, she noticed something unexpected. The alien soldiers were not as formidable as they appeared. Many faltered under the humans' unexpected tactics. The tide of battle began to turn. Mia could see the determination in her team's eyes. They fought not just for survival, but for their future. Their resilience shone brightly, and the Empire's confidence began to waver. As the clash continued, Mia rallied her warriors. Push forward. We fight for our home, and for each other. Show them what humanity is capable of. With renewed vigor, they pressed on, outmaneuvering the alien forces. The once overwhelming enemy began to retreat, confusion spreading through their ranks. It was a pivotal moment, one that would define the future of humanity. As the last of the alien ships retreated, cheers erupted from the humans. They had faced the Empire and emerged victorious. The victory was hard-won, and Maya felt pride swell in her chest as she surveyed her team. They had fought together, not just as individuals, but as a united force. In the days that followed, the news of their victory spread throughout the galaxy. Humans had stood tall against the Galactic Empire, defying expectations and demonstrating their strength. The universe now knew that humanity was not to be underestimated. Mia knew that the fight was far from over, but in that moment, she felt a sense of hope. They had faced the storm and emerged stronger. Humanity had awakened, and their resilience would guide them through whatever challenges lay ahead.